Hello everybody, welcome to lesson 3 of the C++ programming instruction course. Alright, so we're going to start off with, today I think I'm going to start off with user input. That's something we didn't go over in the past lessons, so let's get right into it. Here's our function from before. We're just going to hide that, not worry about that, and we'll comment it out. So if you do 2 forward slashes, that's a comment, and that means the compiler will not parse that line. I think I mentioned that in the previous video, but if not, now you know. So let's do some output and input. So before, as we went over in the previous lesson, cout is to output to the console. Well, C is for console, and then out obviously means output. So console out or cout, and then you just put whatever text you want to output to the console. And then as I said in the previous video, the endl keyword stands for end line. That is optional. You don't have to put that, but it does make it so the text goes to the next line on your output. So if we build and run that, you see it outputs hello world to the console. But suppose we wanted to output something that the user types in. In that case, we would use cin instead of cout. And we would use that symbol, the two greater than symbols, instead of two less than symbols. So two less than symbols means you're putting whatever is here and sending it to the cout function or the console. Whereas cin, it's going the other way. You're getting input from the user. And so you're, I guess, pulling it in. You're pulling in the input. So yeah, this way the programmer pushes content to the cout, and this one, the user puts content into the program. First, we need to give the user a variable to store the input in, and we're just going to do a string. By the way, in order to use this string variable type, you need to include using namespace std. See, if we didn't have that, then I don't know if the compiler. Oh wait, I think it might actually be the. Well, okay, one of those. Point is, without the namespace, the standard string, without the namespace standard library, then the compiler isn't going to know what the string variable type is. So you kind of need that. All right, my string, actually we're going to call this input. And we just leave it blank for now. We don't have to do that. I could just do this. But see, right there, it's uninitialized. And then here it's initialized to nothing. Anyway, input. And then we'll change this to text right here. And we'll just ask the user what their name is. Error, input was not declared in this scope. Oh, I did int put. I gotta watch out for those typos. Int put. All right, there we go. What is your name? Oh, and you see here's where it might have been a good idea not to do the end line function or the end line command at the end of our cout. So let's see, what is our name? Our name, we just type in our name and then press enter, but nothing happened because we didn't tell it to do anything. We're going to get rid of that end line function there. And then we need to do cout again to do something with the input that we were given. All right, so we did cout, your name is, and then we did the input variable and then another end line command. And I got rid of the end line on the first cout. Now let's run that again and see what the difference is. See, what is your name? If you see, the input now is up here instead of on the line below like it was before. Let's see, and I type my name. Your name is Adam. And that's the output. Now, if you'll notice, it did not have a period after the end of our input, and that's because there was no period in the output. So how do we fix that? We just got to do just another string in there in the output command, just like that, and then we just put a period in there. And now if we build and run that, see, now it has the period at the end. And just to prove to you that it's not just putting out the name Adam all the time, we'll say we have a different name. So suppose we say our name is George. Then it says your name is George. Or we could do, what is your name? Your name is Lisa. Your name is Lisa. Then we do that. And all right, now that's basic user input. Now suppose we wanted to do some kind of mathematical function using user input instead of just telling the user what their name is. Well, in that case, we would say enter a number, and we're going to change our input type to an integer. And just not have it your number is, all right, here we go. Enter a number, 43. Your number is 43. Now suppose we wanted to do something with that number. Suppose we wanted to multiply it by another number. We would do it, enter a second number. Input. Now, So if we're going to multiply two numbers by each other, and we want to keep using the input variable for the input both times, how do we do that? Well, we just have to declare other variables, and we'll assign the values to those other variables, and then we won't have to change what our input variable is. So int number 1 and int number 2. And then after this, we do number 1 equals input. And then we can change this here, right here, we can change that from input to number 1. And then we do number 2 equals input. You see, if I do it this way, then I can keep using the input variable for both number 1 and number 2, and I don't have to use a different variable for the input. Now, if I wanted, I could get number 1 directly like that, but I don't want to do it that way. The computer doesn't care. We could do it that way, but I don't want to. We're going to keep it simple and intuitive. So our input variable is just going to be called input. All right. And now, once we've got the two numbers, we do C out. And we would do number 1 multiplied by, and then number 2. So number 1 multiplied by number 2 equals and we're going to actually declare another variable up here, int sum is for addition. I forget what the word for multiplication is. Product, that's right. So product is the answer if we're talking about multiplication. Sum is the word for answer if we're talking about addition. So sum is for addition, product is for multiplication. So we'll actually do both of those, the sum and the product. How do you spell multiplication? There we go. Multiplication. We'll actually so we've got two cout functions here. We've got number 1 added to number 2 equals the sum, and then number 1 multiplied by number 2 equals the product. So that's a little math vocabulary for you there. build and run. Enter a number. We'll enter 4. Okay, there's something went wrong there. What went wrong? I see, I didn't get input a second time. So we've got to get our input again. Let's just, so here I added a second CN where we get the input again. Let's try it now. Enter a number 4. Okay, hold on. We need... Oh, okay, I see. I was having input as the output on the C outline there. See what I did? This is the line I messed up on. Line 41. I had the input on the output line. So we'll just get rid of that right there. Now it should work. 4. Your number is 4. Enter a second number, 5. 4 added to 5 equals, okay. As you can see, the math is not quite mathing here. Let's see what's going on. Oh, okay, I see what it's doing here. See, I declared these variables, the sum and the product, but I never actually assigned them I never assigned them any values, and so the computer is just grabbing whatever data those are assigned to in memory, which is just random numbers. So what we have to do now, before we output the sum and the product, we need to actually calculate them. So the sum equals number 1 plus number 2. And the product equals number 1 multiplied by number 2. Now it should give us the correct answers. So we build and run that. Enter a number, 4. Your number is 4. Enter a second number, 5. 4 added to 5 equals 9. 4 multiplied by 5 equals 20. And as you can see, it is now doing the math correctly because we're actually performing the calculations now. So yeah, that's basic user input and output. Let's actually put in the part where it was asking the name. Cout. Put that back in. What is your name? CN input. Name equals input. Cout. Hello. Name. Alright, so for now it's going to ask us for our name, and then it's going to say hello name or whatever your name is. Let's do some basic math. And now let's do that. What is your name? Adam. Okay, hold on. All right, I see what the problem is. Because right now our input variable, I changed that from a string to an integer. So let's actually change that back to a string. But now it's got an issue where now the input variable is a string variable, and our math down here is going to be integers. So how do we change that? Let's see. So, to int. Remember this, I'm blanking on it right now, but there's a way to convert a string to an integer. Number 1 equals to int input. Is that right? I'm not sure if that's right. Let's try it. No. ToInt was not declared in this scope. All right, hold on. All right, so that's the, all right, yeah, I remember that command now. S2I. So I was trying to use this. I couldn't remember exactly what the command was. I was thinking to integer. I used to underscore int, but that's not a command, which is why the compiler was giving us an error. So the actual command is S2I. S standing for string, I standing for integer, although no spaces like that. So you could, or you could say stowy. So stowy meaning string to integer. And that will give us the proper conversion. Build and run. What is your name? Adam. Hello, Adam. Let's do some basic math. Enter a number, 4. Your number is 4. Enter a second number, 5. And 4 added to 5 equals 9. 4 multiplied by 5 equals 20. So you can see it did convert the string to an integer just fine using the S2I command, and it calculated the math correctly. Just for experiment, let's see what would happen if we tried to do the assign the input directly. It actually seems to be doing it just fine. Let's see. Anyway, because I didn't, of course it's doing it fine. I didn't actually change it. Rather, okay, so if I try to run it, cannot convert string to int in assignment. All right, so it won't even let us run it if we don't do the conversion properly. So we'll just get rid of that line there. And let's do different numbers this time. 8, second number, let's do 9. 8 added to 9 equals 17. 8 multiplied by 9 equals 72. And let's add some clarifying terminology here. we're gonna get a little bigger. 23 and then 54. So 23 added to 54 equals 77. That is the sum. And 23 multiplied by 54 equals 1,242. And that is the product. All right, that's our input. Another thing we could do. We can also add strings to other strings. Something I didn't go over in the previous video, but let's cover that now. Suppose we had another string that we wanted to add into it. Let's ask the user for their last name. So cout is your last name. All right, and then name equals name plus input. And so we're taking the variable name and we're setting it equal to itself plus the input we're currently putting in. Now, you might be asking, why are we doing it that way? Well, we could do it a couple other different ways, but let's just go with this way for now, and then I'll show you some other ways in just a second. So, what is your name? Adam. Oh yeah, let's... Oh wait. Let's get rid of the math for now. So if we want to comment out a big chunk of code rather than just a single line, we could do / and then an asterisk to start when that's where we start, where we want to comment out the code. And then we do asterisk and then another / as the ending point. So you can see here I've commented out this chunk of code right here, and that will not be parsed by the compiler. And let's also put the second part of the name up here. And we'll change the question to be, what is your first name? All right. Let's do that. What is your first name? Adam. Hello, Adam. What is your last name? All right. Let's see. Adam Armstrong. We don't have. We need to add some spaces in here because it doesn't quite look right. So right here, we need to have a space there. Otherwise, the input is going to be butting up right against the question mark, and we don't want that. We want to give it a little bit of space. And I think I want to have a space between the first name and the last name. So we're going to just add that in here as part of our variable. So name equals name plus a space plus input. And as you can see here, what is your first name? Adam. Hello, Adam. What is your last name? Armstrong. And then it says, hello, Adam Armstrong. And as you can see, it's got our space there. And this is all just one variable now, or rather, the name is one variable. And if we want to make this a little more concise, we could actually get rid of name right there and instead have it say plus equals. And that's the same thing as what it was before. This is just a more concise way of expressing the same equation or the same assignment operation. So let's run that again. As you'll see, it makes no difference. The program performed exactly the same as before. Let's break this up a little bit more. Let's, instead of just having one string that says name, we could break it up and have one that says first name and one that says last name. I'm going to keep the input string at the top. So we'll have a variable called first name, a variable called last name, and a variable called full name. All right. So, and we'll change our input here. First name, all right. All right, so you can see here. All right, yeah. Here's where we get the input for the first name. And then here's the same thing again, except this time we're asking for the last name. So cout, what is your first name? And then we get the input, and then we assign the input to the variable called first name. And then it says, we can comment out that, or just delete that. And what is your last name? Cn input. And then it assigns the last name to the input, or assigns the input, the value of input gets assigned to our last name variable. Now let's build and run that. Oh, I've got an error there. Oh yeah, that's right. Because I got rid of the name variable. And our full name is going to equal the first name plus a space and then last name. So full name equals first name plus a space plus our last name. And that's how you add a string to another string. So what is your first name? Adam. What is your last name? Armstrong. Hello, Adam Armstrong. And if we wanted, we could replace the space with another character, such as an underscore. Let's see how that goes. As you can see, it has an underscore there now instead of a space, because that's what we put in the string variable, or the last name variable. The full name variable, excuse me. I think I like the space better, though. All right, and another thing we can also, I touched on this briefly in the last video, but I don't think I really went into detail. We can also overwrite a particular character in a string. So suppose we wanted to change one letter in our name. So how would we go about doing that? We would, let's see, full name. All right. Now see, I'm referencing the full name variable, and I've put these square brackets on the end, and that allows us to access the array, because a string is just an array of characters. And then if I specify a number in here, that tells the compiler that I want to access that element in the array, or in this case, that character in the string. So this would be if I enter the number 4, that's going to give us the 5th character in the string. Why does number 4 give us the 5th character? Well, it's because, as I explained in the last video, the previous video, the arrays in C++ start counting at 0 rather than at 1. So the number of the array is always 1 lower than the actual number. So the 5th slot in the array is called position 4, or the fourth slot in the array. So as you can see, so we'll see, let's see here, let's output that. So cout full name and just to be clear of what we're doing, we'll say the 5th letter in your name is and then it'll give us the 5th letter of the name. Let's see, and let's do a longer name. We'll do Michael Jackson. Hello, Michael Jackson. The 5th letter in your name is A. And is that correct? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yep. The 5th letter in this name would be the letter A. I'm gonna make, no, not is. Gonna add some little quotation marks to make it clearer which number is, or which letter is being referred to. Hello, Michael Jackson. The 5th letter in your name is A. So I just put the little quotation marks around the letter variable, and that clarifies what it is we're referring to. Now let's see, if we were to do a different name, what would happen? Suppose instead of Michael Jackson, we did Michael Jordan. All right, and the 5th letter in Michael Jordan is also A because we kept the same name, same first name, Michael. Let's do a different name. We'll do Roger Ebert. Hello, Roger Ebert. The fifth letter in your name is R. So is that correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, it is. What if we wanted to let the user specify a number rather than simply do the fifth one? Well, we can do that. So let's do cn input all right, and then we'll do cout specify a number to choose a character in your name. All right, and then we get the input, and then we need to do something with the input. We need to convert that. So integer into an integer. What should we call that? We'll just call it number place. Integer number place. And then, all right. So integer number place is equal to our input. And because our input is a string, we have to use the stowy command, s2i, meaning string to integer, in order to convert our string input into an integer that can be saved in this integer variable. And then we need to change this line. And right here, instead of using 4, we're going to say number place. We need to change the wording here as well. All right, the number placeth letter in your name is full name, number place. All right, that should work. Okay, we got getting an error here. Oh, I forgot the semicolon at the end of line 54. Gotta remember that. If you're doing Python, you don't have to worry about semicolons. You do have to worry about semicolons in C++ though. Let's try again. We'll do Albert Einstein. Hello, Albert Einstein. Specify a number to choose a character in your name. We'll do the third. No, we'll do the sixth letter. And the sixth letter in your name is space. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So the 7, I put in 6, and the 7th letter in this particular string is actually the space between the first name and the last name. So you see here, this is another thing. This is what I was talking about with the arrays, where the array starts counting at number 0 instead of number 1. And so the 6th place is actually the 7th letter. And the reason for that is because the first place, or the 0th place, is the letter A. So it counts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yes, number 6 would be the 7th place because we start counting at 0. So let's actually fix that real quick, just because most users are not going to understand that we start counting at 0, so that's going to throw them off. So what we'll do here is do +1, and then that'll at least make it correspond to that. What is your name? Albert Einstein. Oh. All right, I messed it up. I did the full name in the first name, and now it got all confused. Well, let's see. Let's do 8. All right, that's just messing things up. Let's try that again. Albert Einstein. All right, there we go. So specify a number to choose a character in your name. 9. Okay. I think I should not have changed it there because now it's saying the 10th letter instead of the 9th letter, and that's going to confuse the user. But let's see if that's correct. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yes, the 10th letter in the name is indeed the letter N. Let's see if we can make it correspond more closely to what the user actually says. Actually, so I'll put the +1 in this part rather than over there. All right. All right, so this should actually be a minus rather than a plus. And that will make it so that the array will accurately map to what the user says. Hello, Albert Einstein. Specify a number to choose a character in your name. So if we choose 4, the 4th letter in your name is E. And is that correct? Let's look. Albert A, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yes, the 4th letter in this name is indeed the letter E. And we got that by just doing a minus here. Let's see, number place -1 And this just makes it more intuitive for the user because the user starts counting at 1 rather than at 0 like we do. And so we just offset that by 1, subtract 1 from our number place variable, and that gets the user input to align with the array. Now let's see, what's another? The next thing we could do is we could overwrite a particular letter. So, cout, which letter in your name should I change? And we'll just use our number place variable again. And then we'll, in our full name, okay, let's see. And then let's say what we're going to change it to. Well, actually, first we're just gonna change that to an exclamation point. Something I learned the other day was that an exclamation point is sometimes called a bang, B-A-N-G. Just I didn't know that until I read about it in this book. So yeah, C++ for Dummies, all in one. It's on page 47. And you can see here, let's see if I can get that aligned to the camera. What is that symbol? Wow. Okay, this is out backwards. You can see here, right there, bang. Yeah, I didn't know that, but an exclamation point can be called a bang. I did not know that. Most people will still say exclamation point, though. I don't know anyone who calls it a bang, even though that's apparently the correct programmer terminology. But yeah, I've never heard any programmer call it that, even though that's apparently the correct terminology, but who knows? Whatever. Learn something new every day. All right. So now what is this going to do here? What this is going to do is it's going to change one letter in our name to an exclamation point or a bang. All right, and then we need to output that. And we'll just, I don't want to bother wrapping that in a sentence, so we'll just output the variable. Okay, we've got an error here. Forgot the semicolon again. What is your first name? Albert Einstein. We'll change the third letter. The third letter in your name is B. We'll need to change that so that, that we can, later we'll learn about if statements where we can change our output based on the input. And so we can make it say third instead of thirth. But I think that's going to be for our next lesson. So the third letter in your name is B. Which letter in your name should I change? We'll change the third letter. And as you can see here, it changed the B to an exclamation mark or a bang. And I think I'm going to put an end line here. Let's run that again. What is your first name? Albert Einstein. Hello, Albert Einstein. Specify a number to choose a character in your name. Let's do actually 11. The 11th letter in your name is S. Is that correct? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It is. And remember, the reason that 11 actually maps to the 11th letter instead of the 12th letter is because we've got this -1 right here. Remember, that's when you're dealing with arrays, you always got to offset it by 1. Which letter in your name should I change? Let's change the 11th letter. And as you can see here, it changed that S into the bang or the exclamation mark. All right. And what else we got to go over? Let's see, we're coming up on an hour here. We're at like 58 minutes, 30 seconds. I try to keep these to an hour. And I've got a few other topics I could cover, but not in 2 minutes. All right, I guess it doesn't have to be a full hour. That's close enough. All right, yeah, we got. I guess that's all for this lesson. It's close enough to an hour. I'll just, we'll call that a day for now. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.